So, all right, Landon,
Hi.
start this shit.
It's already started.
He's been what? You talking about? He's been
Oh
recording
hell.
for
Okay,
10
well Zach, start this thing. Damn it.
Oh man. All right.
Are you ready?
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run.
You know, they have those nerds clusters, which is new. Yeah, which is good.
10-5! Touchdown!
Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
What are we doing?
Wild long faces. We're not dead yet.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
Welcome to Press Box After Dark. Today is Thursday, January 9th, 2025. I definitely messed that up a couple of days ago when I wrote the year down for the first time. So I'll get it right for the first time probably by June. So we'll see how that goes. Is it New Year's resolution season? Cam, do you have any resolutions for the big old year of 2025?
I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, if I'm being honest. I feel like you're the same person you were the day before.
A week ago.
Yeah, the whole, I haven't showered since last year. It's kind of the same. It's like you're the same person. So,
Are you not
I don't know.
showering?
I don't believe in them. If
I'm
When was the last
okay.
time you
I was genuinely concerned. I'm sorry.
here's the thing.
Was it laundry day, Cam? No underwear.
oh, deep cut there.
Oh my god.
The jokes that the audience doesn't get are the best ones.
Right. One day we might.
One day
explain
we
that.
might.
If they work, some people believe in them, and it works for a small fraction of the population, I guess. So to those people, props to them. But they're not real things, in my opinion.
Showers or resolution?
Showers are not real. I don't believe in them.
We'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that. Hunter, what's your New Year's resolution?
All right, so I'll give you
win more than 2 games.
I have a long list. So this is what I do. I write resolutions that are more like tracking. Well, I mean, a resolution is a goal, but like I write things that aren't really necessarily like big to the overall like scope of life. I write stupid things like watch 10 movies you've never seen before in a year, beat 10 video games that I've never beat before in this year, read a book that doesn't have pictures. That's actually one that I'm doing. That's actually one that I'm doing this year. Kat is forcing me to read a book. Watch like 3 or 4 TV shows that I've never seen before, and I just I try to keep up with them on my phone just to see how many I can actually achieve.
Yeah, those are still.
Yeah, they are. But I feel like when I hear the term like resolutions, like okay, like I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to run a marathon, or I want to learn how to swim, or something like that. I feel like, like, hey, Hunter, what do you want to do? And this year, like, I just want to, read a book. Like, I feel like I'm setting goals and not like, achieving anything.
Major accomplishment for you.
Start with a magazine. Like,
well, so like I read comic books, and I told Kat that should count, and she said no. So I have to read a book. That's what I do. But if I had to give one for this podcast, it would be to get to 100 subscribers on YouTube and 50 followers on Spotify. I think we can do it.
That's funny.
And that's where you run through the list and plug all our socials.
There is a better chance of him.
There's probably a better chance of me reading a book. That's for sure.
Landon, where do you stand on showering?
I do believe in showering. Believe it or not.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
But
your hair looks good.
So. I haven't seen you boys since last year. It's been nice, Good to catch up.
There you go. There's the first one of those jokes.
Well, everybody hates them, so I got to throw it in there. But yeah. Even though Hunter says he hates the resolution, I'm trying to lose weight this year. And
Hey, me
no,
too.
no soda so far. 7 days in.
There you go.
Sucks. Don't recommend it, but
Awful.
I remember when Jordan went on the no soda kick while we were at ACU,
yeah.
Yeah.
and
Brandon
then
and
there
I
was
were
just
talking
like
about it the other
one
day.
there was one random day in like April or May, and he had like 7 sodas in one
I need
day.
this.
Yeah, I looked down. I was like,
Yeah.
Jordan, what you doing, bud? He was like, screw this.
He was low
It
on
was
fuel that day.
it was such a relapse. It was so bad.
Yeah, the real relapse was last year at the lake.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
At the
I'd
lake.
been
That's what I
gone
was
6
thinking.
months, and day 1 at the lake, I was like, let's vacay, whatever.
In your defense, there was like 800
That's
Dr.
true.
Peppers.
There
That was the fishing
Really
trip, though,
was.
right?
Boy must have drank about
I
15
think so.
Dr.
I'm
Pepper.
pretty sure it's a
Was
fishing
it
trip.
April or was it June? I don't remember.
No, that was
Was
at
it?
the lake.
Okay.
That was our
I
lake
thought
week.
it was
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, that was the first day.
But I was like,
I
oh,
have
if you-
to
Yeah, I
pee.
believe the,
You just
I
had a
believe the
lot of
young man
beer
said
in
he
it.
has to pee. Me and Cameron just quoting Forrest Gump back and forth, and you guys are just carrying on the conversation. This is what the people come to see, all 5 of them.
This is what the actual
That's-
press box
yeah.
was.
See, and that's
4 different
exactly, that's
conversations
the
happening.
vibe of this.
It was
Yeah.
just a
with
conversation.
a sprinkling in of, oh crap, what was I supposed to do?
Hey,
there?
was
With
that,
the sprinkling in.
is that,
of-
is that a
Ball
ball
or
or a
strike?
strike? That's it right there. Is that a ball or a strike? Oh my
No,
god!
that was never a question. It was always, hey, what's the count right now? And you could rattle it off
Actually-
immediately.
My question was, we'd always do the webcam or the webcast that
No.
people could watch, and I could never get that damn score to work. So I was always calling people, "Hey, the scoreboard's broken again. What the hell do I do?"
Yeah. Everything went down the crapper whenever we lost our
Yeah,
main guy.
yeah. That'll
That'll
happen.
happen.
That'll happen.
That
But no, we are Press Box After Dark. It is 2025, a new year for us. I guess we didn't do a whole year in 2024. We started in late August, so I guess we're still in our first year.
2024 was an
It was.
entire
We
year.
existed.
It-
We existed
there
for a
was
whole
12
year. The
months.
podcast only existed in August, from August onward. So, but we are Press Box After Dark. We are 5 friends that all met in college athletics. Like we said, that is that Press Box vibe that we all just bonded over, and now we're bringing that and our sense of humor to the world of sports. If you like us and you think we're entertaining, we kind of are. Not really, but we kind of are.
They don't.
Why don't you give us a follow on Spotify and Apple Music? You can find all of our podcasts there. You can also find all of our podcasts on YouTube at Pressbox After Dark. Please subscribe. Like I said, we're trying to reach 100 subscribers by 2026. I think we can do it. We need your help. Hit the subscribe button. Help us out a lot there. That's at Pressbox After Dark on YouTube. You can follow us on TikTok and catch clips of the show. If you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you want to catch a clip, follow us on TikTok at PressboxAD. We're also on Twitter. You can interact with us there at PressboxAD on Twitter and on Instagram at Pressbox After Dark. I have one more quick question before we get going, guys. It is National Bobblehead Day as we are recording. What does anybody have like a unique bobblehead that they would like to just talk about real quick, or you can show on camera? I tweeted one out of my Marshawn Lynch driving the athletic trainer cart today on National Bobblehead Day. What you got, Jordan?
Mine's not necessarily a unique one, except that it was a Prince Fielder, a bobblehead doll, and I had it on my office when I worked in California. I had it on my desk, and our athletic director's kid came in one day and started shaking it real bad, and Prince Fielder's head came off. And then a year later, Prince Fielder had career-ending neck surgery. So I don't know if it was like a voodoo.
That was a voodoo
effect,
doll. That was a voodoo doll.
But the coolest one that I ever saw was Cameron will appreciate this. It was Greg Maddox, Tom Glavine, and Bobby Cox. It was a tri bobblehead. All 3 of them.
Oh,
on the same-
nice.
on the
Very
same
cool.
thing. So that
But it
was
wasn't
pretty cool.
Smoltzy. It was
No,
it was
Smoltz
Cox.
was gone, I
instead.
guess.
Zach,
That's awesome.
Very cool. I used to have one. I don't know where it is now. I may have lost it during some of my moves, but I had one that was it was a two-parter. There was a Marshall Buffalo, for the Thundering Herd, and then there was a Mountaineer.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's, I mean, I'll say rivalry just for the sake of the argument, but it's the Marshall West Virginia football thing. It's not really a rivalry because they've never beat West Virginia. But anyway, the rivalry is called the Friends of Cole Bowl. And they did a Friends of Cole Bowl themed bobblehead,
Nice.
and it's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Landon forgot we were.
Yeah, he just got up and left. Zach, do you have a bobblehead that you like to share on National Bobblehead Day?
I don't think I have it anymore. But right before the pandemic, my my high school was doing this like giveaway on social media, and I just responded to be like, "Hey, this is a good idea, like good content or whatever." And they sent me, and I don't know if you guys remember the name, but the Pirates had an all-star lefty out of their bullpen named Tony Watson.
Oh yeah,
and his dad was our athletic director for years.
Cool.
He graduated from where I grew up, and so he donated money. They built a better baseball stadium, all that stuff. So I just had this like random, and he was wearing our high school jersey, this giveaway. And so, yeah, that's probably the most random one I've ever had. I think I had your pretty like standard, like Sammy Sosa one for the Cubs back then. And then I think I had weirdly a Quincy Carter one for the Cowboys back in the early 2000s. Which was also the
first. Come with cocaine?
That was also the first Cowboys jersey I ever got. Was Quincy Carter, the white one with the 17? Yeah. So anyway, a lot of Cam's like, who are these people?
Landon just showed one and didn't even say who it was.
I had to go get me one.
Okay.
It's Josh Young with a Texas Tech hat and a Rangers jersey.
Oh, that's
cool.
Oh, that's
was that like Texas Tech night or something?
It was. So yeah, pretty cool.
I don't know if y'all do this. I definitely do this. Is I look at Major League and minor league baseball schedules, and I look for bobblehead nights specifically just to go get a bobblehead for the price 100%. Of admission.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I will say, as a Braves fan, the coolest bobblehead that I've ever seen, and I would put this up there with the Marshawn Lynch one in terms of like just pure coolness, is an Ozzy Albies bobblehead. And the bobblehead is of him sliding into second base head first. And Ozzy Albies is notorious with his hair. His helmet always flies off, and his head doesn't bobble. The helmet is on like a pedestal behind him, and the helmet bobbles.
I like that. I like that. No,
nice
a bobblehead, good addition to any guy's office or, just any press box in general. No, I had to give a shout out to National Bobblehead Day. I tweeted at the Durham Bulls because they were talking about one of their bobbleheads because they had the bobblehead giveaway a few years ago where it was the Hit the Bull, Win a Steak from the movie Bull Durham, and the Bulls head bobbled. So I tweeted at them to see if they would, DM us and give us one. They have yet to do so.
How'd that work out?
Durham Bulls, if you hear this, DM us.
Sponsor us.
If you don't hear this, Cameron.
Exactly. We have a guy that can go and get the bobblehead. You don't even have to ship it. Just give it to us for free. We love you. Give us the bobblehead. But no.
It can go in the press box after dark trophy case.
Yep.
It would also create.
It would create the press box.
Was that stored at the lake?
First one.
I think we would store it at the lake.
Yeah. Okay.
We can't store it at Hunter's house because it'll get broken in one of his moves.
Yeah. When are
Hopefully
you
at some point this year, but it'll be across town.
If there's any landlords in Arkansas, sponsor us.
Yeah, if there are landlords in Arkansas, just don't
If you're listening.
Or any developers.
So,
Hunter, where are we going with
we
this?
are going to the college football playoff, and then we're going to go to the NFL playoffs because this is the prime time for football season. Basketball has started, and we'll talk some basketball in some later episodes, but we have to talk about college football. It's the most that we've talked about. I think the most sport we've talked about since we started this podcast, and the four biggest games in the calendar year for college football have happened, and we have two semifinals, a national championship still to go, but we have to talk about the four bowl games that happened this past weekend, and we're just going to go in order and talk about this and talk about the teams that are still alive and the teams that got beat and where they go from here. But we're going to start in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, I guess it's technically Glendale at the Fiesta Bowl. Penn State took down Boise State, and I've watched the game. I watched the highlights back. I have my thoughts on Penn State, but I want to open up this first question because I know a lot of people had some questions about the format, questions about the seating. Did we think Boise State did a good enough job representing the group of 5 in this outing in the Fiesta Bowl, or do we think that this is an outing that people can point at and say, why is the group of 5 here?
I think Boise State did fine. I mean, they weren't predicted to win that game from the get go. So I mean, you can just say that. But it's, no matter who you're going to put in that game from a group of 5 standpoint, they're going to be up against it. I think you also have to give just a lot of credit to Penn State. Penn State has been tabbed as this team that can never find a way to win the big game. And look, I get it. They beat a slightly overrated Indiana team, and then they beat a group of 5 Boise State team. But you do have to give them credit. And I know I picked Boise State to win that game, but I texted Hunter during the game, and I said the key thing I forgot here is that Boise State's defense is not very good. It's a team that gave up a lot of points throughout the season, and they put up a lot of points on the back of Ashton Genty. And I do want to give a shout out to the quarterback as well. What's his name?
Madsen.
Yeah, Maddox.
Look it up.
He's a very talented quarterback. He looks really good as well. But Penn State, that defense is just really good. They ganged up on the run all night, and Genty did have a couple good runs in the second half, but they could never really get him going the way he normally does. So got to give credit to Penn State in that game.
Yeah, I'm with Cameron here. I think Boise, we can get into the conversation later about the format, but who belonged and who didn't and who should have been ranked where, none of that matters. You got the right 12 teams in. It was always designed to be a true tournament format. Boise State lost by, what was it,
31-14, and I'm looking at the stats right now.
31-14. So if the argument is if they did enough, I would like to point to any of the first round games, including Ohio State and Tennessee, and ask if those teams belong.
Yeah.
Boise State, to me, had the season. They earned it. They did exactly what they were supposed to do in that game. Nobody expected them to actually win the game, but for them to get the 3 seed and host, I mean to get a bye and then to play Penn State, I mean they absolutely earned it. There's no question to me that they earned it, and maybe the score wasn't what people thought it should have been, but there's no convincing me that one of those 12 teams didn't deserve to be there.
Yeah, if anything, they should have just been playing in the first round. I mean, they don't get. I don't like the format. It has nothing to do with how they played. They should have been a first round game, and they should have played, Indiana or, somebody different, and advance to the right to play. I just think we got to figure out the seeding with it. I don't think Boise State proved they shouldn't be there. They hung in better than Oregon did with Ohio State. I don't know. They didn't get a home. I don't know. The top 4 seeds didn't even really get a home game. They got a neutral site game. So I don't know. It's not like they proved they shouldn't be in the top 12. That doesn't make any sense to me.
But
Penn State
deserve the shot
dominated them up front.
Yes.
But Boise State, their resume was good enough. They had one of the best players in the country. Absolutely, they deserve to be there. Of course they did. Nothing. They could have been blown out worse, and I
agree. I agree. I'm looking at the stats right now, and it's Boise State outgained Penn State. The biggest difference in the game is 4 turnovers for the Broncos. That that beats anybody. And then I think Penn State had the best player on the field, and I think that if they do get by Notre Dame, you can argue that he's probably not if they match up with Ohio State in the national championship game. But Tyler Warren, the tight end that does literally everything for them, is incredible. And so Boise State's defense trying to stop him that was just an awful matchup for them. And so I think when you flipped it on the other side of the ball is that Ashton Genty is a once-in-a-generation talent at running back, but also, too, Penn State's defense is salty, and they're really, really good. They're really, really impressive. I mean, it was just kind of one of those, it wasn't like the Oregon game when Boise State played Oregon early in the year, because that was they were punching back and forth, and that was a fun, exciting game. This just kind of felt like your typical Big Ten opponent has a very good group of 5 team, and across the ball from them, they just kind of just squeeze the life out of them slowly, let them make mistakes and capitalize on them. It was just like your run of the mill Power 5 versus a Group of 5 game, in my opinion. And I mean, that's really good for Penn State going forward, because there is that stigma that Cameron already talked about, is that James Franklin can't win the big one. And so he's going to have an opportunity to do that against Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl.
But I think the difference this year is that they've probably got the quarterback playing the second best so far in terms of consistency in the playoff, behind probably Howard. I mean, through just 2 games of the playoff, Aller's been fantastic.
He's been fantastic. I think you also got to throw Riley Leonard in there.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty rough in that second half, though. Or maybe it was the first half. I don't think their offense looked crazy impressive against Georgia, but
which not many would. Georgia was behind the 8 ball without Carson Beck, but their defense will always show up. And but you do have to give credit to Riley Leonard in that game. I know we're going to get to it here in a second. I guess we can talk about it now. I mean, the Notre Dame, they look dangerous. I mean, everyone kind of threw them to the curb after they lost that Northern Illinois game, and I don't know what happened that day. I mean, we would have to go back and look at it, but ever since that game, I mean, they've just been dominating people, and they look really, really
That's
good.
arguably the fun of college sports, though, and college football is that happened, and now they're back on top.
Bingo. It's not killing them.
Like that.
It would have killed teams in the past.
They would have been left out of the top 4 in the previous, college football playoffs. So that's an argument for the expanded playoffs now.
And you can't tell me Notre Dame's not one of the best right now, because they are playing
lights out,
unreal football.
I think what I find most fascinating about Notre Dame is, like Cameron mentioned it, is like they lost to Northern Illinois, and then everybody just kind of forgot about them. Like I did, for sure. Coming into the playoff, they get Indiana, and I honestly, like, I respected Indiana. They deserved to be in. I had no problems with Indiana getting in. I didn't think Indiana was going to give them a game, and they didn't. And so then it was this game. It's like, okay, I don't care if Georgia has, a backup quarterback. It's still Georgia. You still have great athletes all across the field. But I think Notre Dame, almost in a way, kind of beat Georgia at their own game, it kind of seemed like. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They ran it down their throat, and they played incredible defense. And the strip sack right before halftime, as most of y'all joke, at least y'all do, and the people who interact with us on Twitter, I run our Twitter account mostly. It's mostly me. And I had a tweet lined up for halftime of the Sugar Bowl, because the Georgia kid, Parker Jones, I think that was his name. I've already forgotten him. The kid that the referee ran into. I'd made a joke about him, and I made a joke about how the game was 6-3 and how it was really boring. And I was about to tweet it, and I literally double checked to make sure, because I was doing something. I double checked to make sure, because I'd already turned the TV off. And I double checked, and I was like, holy crap, like Notre Dame just scored. Like, what happened? So I had to go back and watch. And that's just how this team is. They take advantage of every mistake you make. They're playing sound football. Marcus Freeman is like, he's feeling himself. You saw how happy he was on the sidelines at the Sugar Bowl? That dude is in the zone right now. And I mean, I know we're not really like go deep into predictions or anything, but like I really like Notre Dame right now, and I don't think I've ever said that in my lifetime. And I think that says a lot from somebody that's, I've always like thought Notre Dame's kind of a joke. They're not a joke. They're for real, and I really like them a lot.
You beat me to that, Hunter. There's this new kind of era of coach that's happening across college football. It's Kalen DeBoer, it's Dan Lanning. I think Marcus Freeman is in that boat, but you're not going to see the dictator Nick Saban type of dudes anymore. And the guys that are going to have the success are those younger guys that can relate to players and can relate to the NIL part of it. Marcus Freeman, man, I'm with you, Hunter. I forgot Notre Dame was even playing football after the Northern Illinois game. And every week I would see them in the rankings, and I would go, it's Notre Dame. They'll choke it off in the playoff. And then they just keep winning games. And they're not – Zach, you said it. They're not just winning games. They are dominating people.
Mm-hmm.
They are a far better football team than I gave them credit for. And I think Marcus Freeman is at the center of that, man.
I also do not want to let people believe that Georgia was as powerhouse this year as they have been.
Sure.
They are definitely less this year. Even and I know they played Texas well twice. I know they looked really good the first time, and then obviously got them in the SEC championship game. So I don't want to take that away from what they did. But they had to survive to be in that game with Bama, and the Georgia Tech game. I have a hard time getting that out of my head. Like, I don't think Georgia was this. So when you say, Hunter, that they're still Georgia, it didn't feel like still Georgia. Just
they felt more like the random
year.
SEC team that jumps up every few years, not the big bad bulldog.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I did hear something about. I mean, we all love this sport, so we listen to a lot of podcasts and we see a lot of stuff on websites and everything. And I listened to a podcast that they made an argument that the NIL era right now is doing more harm than it is helping the big dogs, from the sense of that it's taking their depth. And I think there's something behind that, because, I mean, normally, if you talk about like a Nick Saban Alabama team, it's like you take one alien off the field and you put another alien on right behind him. And then the third string guy is a 5-star kid that's, about to turn into an alien over the summer. And so it's like, how do you beat that? Because every single person behind the starter is just as good. I think that Georgia's talent roster is still elite, probably the most elite roster in the country. Probably not. I think Ohio State, Texas for sure. And yeah, those two.
Texas
But
is defense
you have a
alone.
top 5 roster, but I still think the depth of losing people in the portal, because now you look at the portal and Georgia's losing a ton of folks every year. Now, are these people that you know their names? No, you don't. But you probably would know their name if the portal didn't exist, and they would stay at Georgia for a few years, and then they would become the next great Georgia Bulldog. So I do think there is something behind that. But maybe it's just me and my SEC brain, is that I see right now the G and I see Kirby on the sidelines. I'm like, all right, well, he's Saban's replacement. So now we have to, oh God, here comes Georgia. All right, come kick our ass for 4 quarters and move on. But there is something to that.
Yeah, playing them twice in a year is not a lot of fun. I can tell you that.
Playing them every year the last 4 years has been awful, and there's teams in the SEC who haven't played them.
Look, is that different? Is it different if Carson Beck
No,
doesn't get hurt?
no, I don't think so. I don't think.
Hard to say. It would have been.
I think top to bottom, Notre Dame's a better football team.
I think so too. And you're right, Hunter, about the depth. Like, Ohio State in the first year of the playoff won the Natty with their third string quarterback, Cardell Jones. He was their third guy that year. And then the year that they benched Jalen Hurts in a national championship game, and Tua wins the national title. I mean, so we've come a long way from that, because Florida State got their quarterback hurt last year, and they didn't make the playoff with an undefeated record. So we've come a long way from that.
And I do think,
Florida State would have made a 12-team playoff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. But I'm just saying, the depth has changed quite a bit, which is good, which is why you see
the only
better
reason Texas is
teams.
even in the mix at this point is because of their depth. Because Quinn went down and Arch had to start 3 games.
Yeah, and that's easily the best quarterback situation in the country. So
yeah, I will say, kind of to tie this thing up a little bit, I will say one of the most exciting things about Notre Dame and Penn State playing each other is that, we already talked about how Penn State has been tabbed as a team that can't win the big one. Notre Dame's in the exact same boat. They've made the playoff how many times now leading up to this year, and they've gotten destroyed so many times over and over again. And now one of those 2 teams is going to play for a national championship, and I think it's awesome.
And both of them are coached by a black head coach. It will be a black head coach in the national championship.
That's
for the
huge.
First time ever.
That's huge.
Yeah,
I love that.
Awesome.
I love that. And I think, like you said, Cardell Jones. And so I want to give Jordan his spotlight to talk about the Peach Bowl, because we definitely got to go in depth about that. But let's talk about the murder that happened in Pasadena real quick, and Ohio State. I mean, the only thing I want to talk about the Rose Bowl is Ohio State absolutely killed Oregon. I even turned the game off at 34-0. I want to say this.
And it's hard to turn the Rose Bowl.
It really
is.
It really is.
When's the last time somebody jumped up 34-0 on Oregon?
In the first
half,
half?
It was rough. I honestly don't know.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I was doing something else that day, and I was about to tune into the game, and then I did, and Ohio State was already up big, and by halftime, I just stopped watching.
That one was right after the
Yep.
Texas game.
Yeah.
My brother was here, and I was like, oh, they were going to hit the road and go back home and stuff. And I was like, oh, Ohio State and Oregon's next. This is going to be a really good football game.
I mean, you were thinking this is supposed to be
out on the town a little bit, and I looked at my phone and I was like, 17-0. What is happening? I picked Ohio State to win that
just
game.
based on the first time. Yeah, I mean, just based on the first time that they played, I was like, this game has to be good. But
that's where no home field advantage does play a little bit of a factor.
Right,
Not
exactly.
maybe 34-0 factor, but
exactly. I started off this year by saying that I thought Ohio State was going to be the best team in the country, and they scared me against Michigan. But they definitely have the most talented roster, and if Ryan Day manages the game how he should, like, he should have no problem beating whoever's in front of him.
Can I also give a little love to Michigan? Maybe they're not as bad now as they were in September and October.
Sure, maybe they got better.
They actually did get better.
Yeah, I mean,
over the course of the season.
You finished the year beating Ohio State and Alabama. I mean, that's
they're in a lot better spot than we thought they were.
It's still a loss. I mean, Ohio State still should have won the game. I'm not going to take that, but maybe Michigan's not totally terrible.
I've talked about this with this group several times, way too many times probably at this point. But after the Michigan game, we heard all about how Ryan Day was coaching for his job again, which is just absolutely absurd. And if that's the case, my man has put the foot on the absolute gas. They got up 21-0 in their first round game, and then they got up 34-0 on a neutral site against the number one team in the country. They're for real, man.
But if he was on the hot seat, so should every other coach in the country. Like, I don't understand. If he's on the hot seat,
every other coach, every other school in the country should be breaking down the door to go hire that guy.
Well, the problem was he doesn't have a national championship.
Well,
how many active coaches do?
Two.
Kirby,
Dabo
and Dabo.
Matt Brown's not active at this point.
Yeah,
right?
Kirby
and then
Dabo.
Belichick has Super Bowls, but that's it.
Yeah, because Jim's in the NFL.
Yep, Nick's gone.
Like
Les Miles. No, Ed Ogeron's on a beach somewhere with a model, probably, as he should. No, I do think that Ohio State is playing like their hair is on fire, and I think that the 2014 team that you mentioned, Zach, that's what I'm thinking of, because like I remember that season. Didn't seem like everybody thought Ohio State should have been in that playoff. They snuck in at the 4, and everybody's like, well, they're going to lose to Alabama. They're going to get killed in the Sugar Bowl. Like, why are they even playing this game? They're awful. And they beat the brakes off of Alabama that night. And then they went and then they played Oregon and killed them. And it wasn't even that fun of a game to watch. And this team, to me, feels like that team where it's kind of like you need the doubt and you need that loss from Michigan to wake you up and remind you, like, oh, you know what? We're actually Ohio State, and we're the best team in the country, and they're showing it right now. And, if there's a team that could take them down from a talent standpoint, it's Texas, but sometimes you just get hot, kind of like in baseball, and I just feel like they're hot right now.
How fucking good is Jeremiah?
He's incredible.
Oh,
he's so freaking good.
Ohio State is that team to me that when I think of who has been really, really, really good consistently in college football for 3 decades, Texas has been up and down. USC has been up and down. Florida's been up and down. Ohio State has not been down. They are the premier team of the last decade, the last 20 years, the last 30 years. Mm-hmm. And I think this might be the best Ohio State team I've ever seen.
They're always in the conversation for a national championship.
Yeah.
They're never
they don't always win it, but they're always there.
The run that Alabama had, obviously. But what was Alabama before Nick Saban got there?
Bad.
And the year before
Ohio State had Jim Tressel and he left and they got better with Urban.
Yeah.
And now Ryan Day has lost 6 games.
Yeah, because they won it all in 2002. They were in it in 2006. or 07, whatever it
It
was,
was-
the year they
yeah,
before
it
they
was
beat the
06.
shit out of them.
They are a very, very, very good football team. at
They're
every
always in
position,
it.
man.
Urban Meyer took over. They went undefeated, but they couldn't play any games because they were in trouble. So he couldn't do anything, but they went undefeated.
Yep.
Yeah, totally insane. But yeah.
Well, Jordan, I'm going to give you the spotlight. Let's talk about the
Can't
team
wait.
that Ohio State has to play in their semifinal game in the Cotton Bowl. Let's talk about what I'm going to go out on a limb and say might just be the very best game in the calendar year in 2025. Holy shit. Let's talk about the Peach Bowl. My God, that game was incredible.
It's going to be tough to top that Peach.
Go
Bowl,
ahead,
man.
Jordan.
I want to start off by saying, again, all these teams I was told didn't belong and shouldn't get the bye and all these things. Arizona State doesn't belong.
So fucking good.
They belonged. They absolutely belonged. They did for about 3 quarters. But when it mattered, they belonged. They were absolutely on the same level playing field as Texas for the entire second half of that football game. Absolute tip of the hat to Arizona State and to Hunter for saying that they were a really good football team weeks before anybody
Months before anybody said that. I saw them in week 2 and I left that stadium and I was like, that team's not bad. Like, that team's actually a really good football team. I walked in there, I was like, obviously I had my maroon goggles on and I was like, all right, State's probably going to win this game today. It'll be a nice win for us on the road at a Power 4 conference. We got dog walked and I was like, holy shit, this team's really good. No one even knows about them. And they will. And Cameron laughed at me. Then he stopped. It's okay.
What a turnaround.
I told you, Hunter, that I had some things to say on this one. And I'm just going to go ahead and get to it because I've heard a lot of hate, specifically from Texas A&M and from OU fans. I'd like to point out, by the way, that Texas A&M is a year removed from paying a coach $77 million to go away just to win one more game the next year. And OU's won 2 bowl games since Bob Stoops retired, and one of those was coached by Bob Stoops. Okay? So let's not pretend that Texas A&M and OU are on the same playing field as Texas this season. They might be at some point, but they're not right now. The next thing is Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers has somehow become this love-to-hate, easy-to-blame guy, and I even find myself doing it. When Zach sent Quinn's stats in the fourth quarter of overtime to the group the other day, I had to go back and look at it to make sure he was right. But what I know for sure is when Quinn Ewers shows up, that team is almost unstoppable. And when they need him to show up, he shows up. So then I got to digging and doing a little homework. So I'm going to read some things off for you guys.
Oh, brother.
Quinn Ewers beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. He won a Big 12 championship. He got the mighty Texas Longhorns to their first playoff berth ever in this system. He beat Michigan at the Big House. He beat Arkansas in Fayetteville. He beat Texas A&M in College Station. He is 2-1 against Oklahoma. 2 of those are disgusting blowouts, both wins. He got Texas to the SEC title game. He's the only quarterback to lead his team to the playoff back-to-back years this year. He's coming off of back-to-back playoff wins, beating an ACC champ and a Big 12 champ. And this is where I think Texas fans have lost their way. They've become so entitled that they've forgotten what things were like before Quinn Ewers. So Quinn's 21-4 in 2 seasons as a starting quarterback. Okay, that's the best mark since
Colt McCoy.
Yes, Colt McCoy when Colt went 25-2 in 2008.
Yeah, that was a while ago, guys.
Okay, so let me rattle off some names that Texas has had playing since
Colt
McCoy.
Oh, we gotta
boy.
try this.
We gotta try
this, guys.
Tyrell Swoops would like a word. Tyrone Swoops. Okay.
Swoops. That's one.
That's who you start with.
Hey, never forget Joe Test saying Texas is back. I think they won 7 games that year.
Give me David Ash.
Ash.
Oh
is trash.
God, I forgot about him. Give me Colt McCoy's little brother,
Is my
Case
Case.
McCoy.
McCoy.
is my guy Garrett Gilbert in there?
Garrett, give
Oh,
it away, Gilbert.
I got another one. Gerard Hurd.
Oh
Gerard Hurd.
God, I don't even
I
know
don't
who
even
that
know
is
who
either.
that is.
Yep.
Sam Ellinger.
Sam
Yeah,
Ellinger.
the
He
only
wasn't bad.
decent
He
name
wasn't
on the
bad.
list.
He also gave us the "We're Back"
I
meme as
forgot he was
well.
there.
You guys are forgetting a couple that are still playing.
Well, you
Or played this year.
Ooh.
Hudson
Oh,
Card.
Hudson. Oh my God. Oh, the guy from the guy that went to Florida Atlantic and chased. Is that Hudson Card? No, who's the guy that Casey Thompson? Isn't that his name?
oh,
There it is.
Casey
Yeah, he went to
Thompson,
Florida
so-
Atlantic with Tom Herman.
we got any
And,
other years we're missing?
Yeah, the one you're not going to get is Shane Buechele. Because he was
Ew.
forgiven.
SMU, yeah, SMU
legend.
guy.
Yes.
Bobby Boucher is what I heard.
So all these Texas fans that I'm so ready for Quinn Ewers to be done. I'm so ready for it to be Arch's time.
And that was when Texas was going like 5-7 like every
Do
year.
you remember the 10 years with Gerard Hurd and Case McCoy as quarterbacks? What are we doing, man?
Yeah, I think Texas missed like 4 straight bowl games or something like that.
At least. The
The
Quinn Ewers hate
2010s was
absolutely
rough.
has to stop.
Yeah.
That 4th and 13 that was
Wow.
at the
Yeah.
time was
Of a
the tying
touchdown.
touchdown in overtime. I don't know if you guys know this or not. Was an audible play called
Oh,
by
dude, I
Quinn
didn't hear that.
He got to the line. He saw the coverage. He audibled out of it on 4th and 13, and then he made that dart of a throw.
It was awesome.
If they go on to
And
win,
then they
dude,
scored
if they go on to
one
win the
play
Natty,
later.
how
And
big
they
is that
scored back and
play?
tied in on the first play. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God,
Oh,
that play's
yeah.
gonna be that's gonna be replayed in every Texas hype video until everyone dies.
The 2 biggest plays in Texas football history: Vince Young scramble for the Rose Bowl, Quinn Ewers 4th and 13 dart on an audible that Quinn Ewers called.
And flip that. Arizona State's thinking, man, if we just would have stopped a 4th and 13, we
Yes.
had this. You know what I mean? Like
All
that
I'm
is
saying
that's
Is the
an
Quinn Ewers
unbelievable
hatred
play.
has got to stop. Arch is going to come and have his time, and I certainly hope he's very good. But it's not yet. Quinn Ewers has at least a football game left. Does he make some plays where you want to pull your hair out? Yes, he does. Does he make some plays where he looks like that? Like a superstar? Like a game changer? Yes, he does.
Especially in the fourth quarter.
The Quinn Ewers hate has to stop. That's my piece. Now we can get into some game analysis if you want.
Oh, it was just one of my favorite
Yep.
games I've ever
I
seen.
mean, that's just
It was
Game
just
itself,
I don't think there's a ton to analyze. I think it was just a really, really enjoyable game to watch. I mean, everything that you expected happened. I mean,
And a lot
both
of
I
teams-
didn't expect any of it.
Yeah.
well, no. I mean, well, you didn't let me finish. What I meant was, Scottaboo played how you thought he was going to play.
No, he played much better than I thought he would play. That's an NFL.
he's so good.
so
He
good.
he will get an
That
NFL
defensive
contract. He will
line
get
is
drafted.
in
He
the
is
NFL.
good. He is worth it.
Cam
I
Scottaboo
think-
did whatever he wanted to
Mhm.
that defense, and
Yeah.
nobody else has done that to them.
I think the thing that was out of the ordinary that I feel like has to be mentioned is kind of the mismanagement of the game by the referees.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and Herod, I'm not hating on you, but I mean that game could have and probably would have played out way, way differently if that targeting call had been
Listen,
had
I wanna
been
go-
I was
called.
I was
We'll go there for
surprised they
just a
overturned it.
I want to go there for just a second.
Yeah.
In real time, the Arizona State hit on the Texas wideout. I said, no, that looks clean. I don't think that one's targeting. And they didn't call it targeting. The Michael Taff hit that everybody's talked about for a week now, in real time, I said, that's absolutely targeting. By the definition, it's targeting. And what I've learned is that I clearly do not understand.
No one
what
does.
targeting is.
Nobody
I don't
does.
think
No
anybody
one knows
does.
what targeting is, and no one knows what a catch is.
5 Texas games in a row that I've said that guy's going to get thrown out for targeting, and then they come back and say there's no foul for targeting. I do
Because
not
my-
understand it.
Jordan, my
But-
first thought was, oh crap, he's out for the first half of the semifinal game.
if they
That's
got
what I
that
thought.
far. There was no guarantee they were getting that far at that point.
Right.
That was in regulation. If
Yes.
Arizona State gets 15 yards there, they get another 10 or 15, and they can kick a field goal and just win the game in
Yeah,
regulation.
because there was like what, a minute left or 40
Yeah.
seconds left or something.
But I do want to mention the one thing that nobody seems to be talking about is Cam Scadaboo's rushing touchdown in that first overtime period when his offensive lineman suplexed him.
That's not, yeah.
4 yards into the end
So I have a
zone.
question about that.
Nobody's
I
talking about
have a
that.
question. So I think it was, God dang it, now I'm blanking. It was an SEC game that I was watching earlier this year, and I want to say Tennessee was involved, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So if people listen to this, fact check me in the comments on YouTube. There was a flag that was thrown because I don't believe you're allowed to pull. You can push behind, but I
No.
don't think you're allowed to pull. So how was that not thrown?
Yeah. And I immediately sent that in our group text. I was like, that dude got pulled 3 or 4 yards. It's one thing if it happens in the middle of a pile and you can't see it that well. That was there was no pile. It was very clearly the offensive lineman pulling him for like 3 yards across the goal line.
Referees
And
were
they just didn't
terrible
throw it. Like
the entire game.
I don't know. They got to be better.
They do. They had to have gotten a bad grade for that because of how unevenly bad they were. It's why I'm like, no, Arizona State, you didn't get screwed by the refs.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not what it was because there was a lot of bad calls, a lot throughout the game. So
Well, and the Texas kicker, the Texas kicker that looks like a poodle also had 2 chances to end the game. So
Bird Auburn is the great equalizer, but
it all evens out. As soon as I saw Sark talking to him before that second kick, I was like, yeah, he's going to miss this second one.
That was a long conversation.
Has anybody ever iced their own kicker more than
Yeah.
Sark?
Never talked to the kicker.
Jason Garrett
Never
would like
talked
a
to the
word.
kicker.
I think he did it a couple of
Hunter,
times.
I mentioned this to you the other day as well, but I thought Sark was completely outcoached in that game.
I think so.
Arizona State went for a fake punt on their own 4-yard line in the second
Oh,
quarter.
it was awesome.
And
That was awesome.
That could have put Texas up 3 scores if they snuff it out.
I mean, you had a 170-pound punter throw it to a 294-pound defensive lineman. It was glorious.
I love the ballsiness of the play there, but like as a Texas fan, that's a game-changing play that you blatantly screwed up. The decision Texas scores on 2 offensive plays, and then they score on the punt return. They've put up 2 touchdowns on 2 offensive touches, and Sark immediately went back to the ground game. He called the dogs off, and I don't understand why.
And then he stopped running it when he should have run it late. Yeah.
And then the biggest decision, I think, for Sark of the entire game was when Quinn threw the interception on 2nd and 4. Texas is up a score with 5 minutes left. They just got a first down. It's 2nd and 4 all of a sudden. All you need to do is eat the clock. And he has Quinn Ewers drop back to throw a deep ball with the idea of getting pass interference, and it's picked off.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest
confusing.
flaw of the game from Quinn Ewers was on a bad call from Steve Sarkisian that should have never been called.
I think, like you said it earlier with the Marcus Freeman, like this kind of new era of coach. Kenny Dillingham, I don't know how long he's going to stay at Arizona State. He is an alum. That dude is fun. That dude is so much fun. You listen to him in his press conferences, he's fun. He'll talk about how bad the refs are, but then he also was like, hey, after the game, I told my kids, get out here and shake their hands before we go back to the locker room. I know you think you just got screwed. I know you're upset. I know you have all these emotions going through your head. We're going to show sportsmanship, and then we're going to go in the locker room. We're going to talk about ourselves. That's what we're going to do. That guy right there, he's going places. I don't know how long he stays at Arizona State, but that dude is going places.
The worst thing that happened to Kenny Dillingham was that he signed that extension before the Texas game.
I mean,
because he could have got way more money if he had signed it after.
And you can't say you got screwed if you go to 2 overtimes and you have a 4th and 13.
And all I got to say,
so he gets.
All I got to say is thank the good Lord that we did not see a playoff game go to the 2-point conversion off. I don't like that rule. I hate it. They need to do just go back to the regular overtime rules and just let them play it out. That is stupid. I hate it. I don't know what they got to do, but we need to change that. Thank God that we didn't have to sit here and watch 8 overtimes, because I don't know if I'm Kenny Dillingham, every overtime I just would have gave it to Cam Scatterbo until they just couldn't stop him.
Well, but all you got to do is just change it. You have to go for 2 every time.
I like that. There's no more kicking.
Like
Texas should be doing that anyway.
God, yeah, in regulation.
Yeah, in regulation.
As we record, my preview is coming out tomorrow. But one of my keys to the game for Texas is keep the kicker off the field no matter what. Go for it or punt it.
Punter's okay.
Punter's fine. We are, knee and punt. We are a pro punts podcast. Just let that be known. We're always going to be pro punts.
I also want to be on record as saying this, and I if I eat my words, I'm happy to. That Texas and Ohio State game,
it's awesome,
is going to feature 20 to 25 dudes that are going to have lengthy NFL careers.
Mm-hmm.
Without question.
If Ohio State plays the way that they have played, there is no one that can stop them, and that includes Texas.
Yep.
Yeah, because Quinn can't be inconsistent. You can't go 3 or 4 dead series.
Perfect football, and they have not played perfect football at any point this season. Against teams like Colorado State, they weren't playing perfect football. They're not doing it against that Ohio State team.
I think it's gonna be an awesome
I
game.
really do think we're going to get 2 really good semifinal games. Penn State, Notre Dame on Thursday night in the Orange Bowl, Friday night in the Cotton Bowl in Jerry World. The sun won't be an issue because it's going to be down because it's a nighttime kickoff. Thank God. Ohio State.
We got a playoff. We got a playoff game in Dallas.
And the only teams playing playoff games in Jerry World this year are high school teams that made it that far in Texas. So in Ohio State,
if they can get
Texas traveled 200 miles for their game last week. Every other team traveled over 1,000.
Nice. So, but that is what happened in the second round of the college football playoff. We had to talk about it. We still have.
Are we making picks?
Let's do it real quick. We'll do.
Just pick them both.
All right, we'll pick them both. Cameron, give us both. Give us the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. Go.
Give me Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Landon.
Ohio State, Notre Dame.
Zach.
I'll go Penn State and Ohio State.
Can you imagine Big Ten fans?
Oh my.
Penn State Ohio State rematch would be pretty crazy.
SEC fans are going to go into hibernation.
Yeah. I'll go and I'll let Jordan finish it off. Let's go. I'm gonna save the graphic. We're gonna go Notre Dame.
They can win.
I'm gonna save the graphic. Notre Dame and Texas. That'd be
an awesome game.
Honestly, any matchup at this national championship at this point is gonna be awesome. So I'll go Notre Dame, Texas. Jordan, finish it off.
Yeah, the brands that are in the Final Four,
man,
ESPN is salivating.
The fact that Penn State is the weakest brand of the Final Four, and I could even eat my words there. Like Penn State, arguably,
it's probably true.
It's probably true, but like in terms of the fan bases, though, Penn State might be the best traveling fan base of the remaining 4, outside of maybe Notre Dame. But Penn State fans travel, man. They're great fans.
They all do, though. I mean, they really all do. In terms of relevance in 2025, Penn State's probably the weakest of the 4. But, I mean, you had a coach who was there for like 57 years or something. I don't know. How long?
He was the first coach they ever had. There you
go. In 1888.
He was the first.
Yeah, he invented college football. Jordan, give me your picks.
All right, I'm going to say Texas and Notre Dame because my soul needs that in the national championship.
Oh, it'd be so good. It'd be so good.
My preview tomorrow might have something different, but for the sake of this pod, I'm going to say Texas and Notre Dame.
It's the national championship we could have dreamed of when it was like Brady Quinn and Jeff Samardzija and all that Notre Dame team back then when Texas had some good ones, but USC kept getting in the way there.
The old Bush push, the Bush push got in the way. Zach, do we want to go into the NFL playoffs right now, or do you want to skip it and just go to hang a banner?
No, let's talk just a little NFL. Wild Card Weekend's my favorite weekend of the year. So, but I think we have a lot of good games. We have some good brands. Like you have Ravens Steelers, and then you have Packers Eagles. Like you have some iconic. Like the NFL just put out that 4th and 26 game from Donovan McNabb, like from 20 years ago. You've got some big brands playing. Rams Vikings, I think, is an awesome way to do it on Monday night. Like Bucks Commanders, that's so random. Washington hasn't won a playoff game since 2006, and that was when they beat Tampa Bay with Mark Brunell. Like,
oh God, what a name!
I love Wild Card Weekend this year. I think it's going to be really good. The worst game might be Denver Buffalo, maybe. I don't know.
For the record, at the beginning of the season, when we were talking about which rookie quarterbacks were going to make the biggest impact, the consensus among this group was Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, and they're both there.
How about that? Yeah, Denver. I would say they're dangerous if they weren't having to go to Buffalo, because that's a different beast. But that was, I mean, they look really tough. Minnesota looked terrible against the Lions on Sunday.
That was odd.
So
I'm so excited for the Lions, man.
Cam, do you feel good about that with the Rams there at SoFi?
I'm kind of split. I mean, so with it being at SoFi, I think that's big for the Rams, for my Rams.
He owns the team.
But I will say it's Kroenke who?
Kroenke, gross.
Yeah, Kroenke, if you're listening, he's one of the richest men alive. I'm excited for the game, but it is very difficult to beat a team twice. And the Vikings, despite them looking bad against the Lions, they're a very good team. But the reason I'm optimistic about the game is just based off of how the first matchup went with the Vikings. The defense played very well for the Rams. I mean, Sam Darnold has had a great season, and that's a topic of its own. But the Rams played well enough on the defensive side and really have improved a lot this season on the defensive side. From starting 1-4 and not being able to stop a nosebleed, they have really stepped up. And then also in that first Vikings game, Stafford just played incredibly. And
got his guys back.
Yeah,
you're healthy.
Yeah,
you're finally healthy.
Ever since Puka and Cooper Kupp came back, I mean, with those guys healthy, that's up there for the in terms of wide receiver tandems. That is up there. I mean, I'm trying to think like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith might be the only other one that I can think of, but those two guys, and they're just volume guys. I mean, catching 9-10 passes a game, both of them, outside of the 0 reception game that played counter in the playoffs for fantasy football. But
never drafting Cooper Kupp again.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the game. I'm as a Rams fan, I'm very proud of them for starting the season 1-4 and then turning it around and going 9-3 to end the season. And they went 9-3, but I mean, we really could have gone 10-2. We played third stringers that entire game against Seattle, and Seattle was really out to win that game. Geno had $6 million in bonuses on the line.
Yeah,
and he got all of them.
All of them.
I like the Rams' chances. I think I'm going to pick them against Minnesota.
I like it.
I really like them. Yeah. No, they're a tough out. The Texans are getting their normal Saturday afternoon playoff game time slot, and so they'll open it up against
I make a comment about the Texans real
the
fast?
Chargers, who I think is going to win that game. Yeah, go for it.
J.J. Watt has continued to cry because the Titans have worn their Oilers uniforms twice in a row against the Texans. The Titans played as the Houston Oilers. The Texans never did. Stop the madness.
And they were for 1 year the Tennessee Oilers.
Yes.
For 1 year.
Yes. Their history is connected to the
Right.
Houston Oilers. The
And if
Houston
you're gonna
Texans-
Owner
and if you're
everything.
gonna keep crying about it, that's what makes them want to do it even more.
I would do it
Like,
every game if I was the
It's so
Titans. Every
funny.
single time we played them.
oh
to
yeah.
do it in the finale against Houston is so awesome.
I mean,
it was
didn't
so
work out
funny
for
to
them
me.
because they're still the Titans, but
No, they're terrible. They have the number 1 pick, which is crazy.
and fired their GM.
Yeah, it's so funny. God, they're
I
a
can't wait
dumpster
for them
fire.
to take shots.
No.
The draft is going to
Stop
be
it.
so
We're going
fun.
to talk about the draft
Oh
on
my
this
God.
podcast. It's going
Oh,
to be
it's
so
gonna
good.
be
Zach
so
does
good.
so good with his
It's gonna be
draft board. It's really, really good. Now, I mean, for me, I mean, I don't watch as much NFL as you guys. I mean, I watch the Cowboys, and it pisses me off all the time. Dak got hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Dak
should
got
stop
hurt, so
doing
I
that.
got less interested because that's really the only reason I follow the Cowboys.
You got less interested when Dak got hurt?
Yeah.
You really should be more of a Chris
Well,
Jones.
no, because then everybody's gonna call me a bandwagon fan because then the Chiefs just got really, really good. So that's why at least I stick my. I hitch the way.
Just
You're a bandwagon
No,
Dak fan. Like
if he would have got drafted by Cleveland, you'd be a Browns
Yeah, that's what I'm
fan.
saying. But I have like
Talking
more.
about-
I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. He's our only quarterback. He's like the only offensive player we have in the league anyway. We just produce defensive players and that's it. So I mean, but anyways, I would say I like the Eagles a lot. I really like the Eagles. I really want to see what Jaden Daniels does in the playoffs too, as well. I mean, Zach hates everything I just said because I know we're just talking NFC East teams. But those are the 2 teams I really, really like. And then I'm interested to see.
I think I hate the Packers. I think
Okay.
I hate Green Bay just a little bit more, though. I really can't
Zach,
stand Green Bay.
Zach, I have a question. I don't know if you know this or and I beyond the Rams, I don't follow a ton of the rest of the NFL teams as well as I should. But when is the last time that 2 NFC East teams made the playoffs? Because that conference or that division has been really bad for a long time.
You're gonna. I would say yes for the most part, except 2 years ago they got 3 in.
Oh, really?
It was the random year. Remember Daniel Jones's one good.
Oh, that's
year
how he
with
got
the
that
Giants.
extension.
Yeah.
They beat Minnesota the year the Vikings were frauds, and Dallas went to Tampa and ended Tom Brady's career.
Yeah.
I like how you
So-
said the year the Vikings were frauds, as if that
Which is most
differentiates
years, yeah.
between any
But
other
it was
year.
also the year Philly
Yeah.
went to the Super
So,
Bowl. So you had all 3 of those
Right.
that year. But before that, it was like 2004. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it was. They've been a bad. They're the most parody. It's been like 20 straight years with a different champion.
And now it's the NFC South. The NFC South is just
bad.
abysmal.
So bad.
So bad.
Zach, I want to ask this one question because I'm just rooting for a team that's never won the Super Bowl, or maybe a team just to get to the Super Bowl who's never been there. Can the Lions do it with all these injuries? You do?
Yeah,
You think so?
absolutely they can.
I was very impressed Sunday Night Football against the Vikings, but I mean, they were rattling through the injuries they have, and I'm just like, can they do that through the playoffs?
I mean, Aaron Glenn's going to
Yeah.
get a head coaching job based
Mhm.
on that performance. I mean, their defense is so banged up, and they shut down Minnesota. But David Montgomery's coming back for the divisional round, and they get a week off. They haven't had a bye week since week 5. So they are about to get a big old rest. They're going to get whoever's lowest seed remaining. So I like their chances a lot. The NFC's loaded, so it'll be tough.
Detroit
but I like
you
their
could,
chances a
feel
lot.
them coming for the last season or two.
Yeah, it's been a
It feels
build up.
like this is finally
And then,
maybe their time.
you know, if this is the year, like if we really do get a Lions Bills
Oh my
Super Bowl in
God.
New Orleans, like that would be the most fun thing ever. I would be all for it. I'm kind of over Kansas City. Like I don't hate Kansas City or anything. I'm just kind of sick of them. Like I'm ready for something else. But so like it would be cool to see like Buffalo and Detroit, 2 teams. Who have
See,
won.
okay, so let's say that happens. Are you rooting more for the Bills because they've lost 4 and they were there 4 times and they lost 4, or do you root more for Detroit because it would be their first ever Super Bowl?
It would also be Buffalo.
Well, no, I'm talking about like their first ever appearance. Detroit's never even made it, right?
Appearance. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
so
that's true.
yeah.
They've never been to
Buffalo's
Super
lost.
Bowl.
They lost their 4. Great 30 for 30. The 4 falls of Buffalo. But yeah, who would you root for more in that one?
Probably Detroit. Just I'm
There
an
you go.
NFC
That's
guy,
fair.
so probably Detroit, and that would be a pretty awesome redemption story
Oh
for
my
Jared
God,
Goff.
Would that
But
be ever?
I don't know. I really like
He's
Josh
good.
Allen too, so he might win the MVP. That'll be an interesting discussion. Is the MVP this year with Lamar and Saquon, and I think Darnold and Goff should get some votes too.
Also,
but
PSA for when we do the draft analysis.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon,
Later on for the NFL draft, fans, make sure that when somebody gets drafted, if you have a negative reaction, don't film yourself, because the amount of tweets I've seen surfacing this past week of Bills fans getting mad they drafted Josh Allen, or Raiders fans getting mad they drafted Brock Bowers, you name it, any player. There's at least 2 or 3 videos of a fan going, "Why did we draft this guy?" Stop that. Stop recording yourself
People
on the
have
draft.
forgotten
Stop it.
that people have forgotten Josh Allen's first couple years in the league. He was not good.
Herod, you said in our text the other day that Brock Bowers should get chances or looks for Rookie of the Year.
Cam.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was Cam. I agree.
Yeah, absolutely should.
I think he should be the Rookie of the Year.
I do too.
They'll probably give it to Daniels or Nix for taking him to the playoffs, but I mean, to break records like that for who was throwing him the ball?
That's
Do
the
they-
biggest thing. He's catching passes from Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, dude.
Does
my
the
God.
NFL do it like the MLB where they do one for each conference, or is it just one overall?
One rookie. You have an offensive Rookie of the Year and a defensive Rookie of the Year
Okay.
for the entire league. Yeah,
That's tough. I think that's a really good race for Rookie of the Year.
Isn't it, though? Yeah,
I would probably give it to Daniels.
it's probably those 3. Are there any we're
I don't
missing?
think so. I think it's those 3.
I
No,
would
the
think so.
rookie
Those
that I thought
3.
was going to
I-
explode was Xavier Worthy, and he just
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would have to give it to Daniels right now, just because he did it over more of the season. Knicks kind of came on midway through the year and finished strong. Bowers did it for the whole season. I think I would put him in a close second, but Daniels just had a phenomenal year. And just he looks so ready. And
And he had like 4
especially-
game-winning drives, and
Yeah, and to your point, Hunter, people
Mm-hmm.
dogging people after the draft. I mean, people were dogging that
Yeah.
pick too. I mean, the analysis on that pick was like Jaden Daniels is not ready to quarterback an NFL offense, and he's just proven everyone wrong. So
My only
changed
concern
that
about him
franchise
was just getting injured, because he took some brutal hits at LSU. I mean, some god awful hits, but he kept getting up, and I was like, if he does that in the NFL, then he'll be fine. But if not, then we're in trouble.
he banged up his hip against Dallas because their line kind of sucked, and Micah Parsons just kept taking shots at him. Like, guys,
Yep.
get him out of the game.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
the 6 versus 7, I get there's like a little difference there, but also just get him. You need your guy for the playoffs. Like, get him out of there.
I think the most impressive thing with Jaden Daniels is that, I mean, look at what he has around him. Okay, I'll give you Terry McLaurin. He's a fantastic receiver. But then after that, his second best target might be Zach Ertz. and then after that, who's the kid from UVA that they have at receiver?
Name a UVA player, any of
I
them.
need I need to hold on. I need to find that kid's name, because
Who'd we play? Who was on that team and when we played him in 2020, Landon?
Oh my
Who was
God,
on
that's
that
the Scott
Virginia
Van Pelt
team?
game. 67, get on your horse.
Olamide Zacchaeus.
You couldn't.
Hunter
Oh
spelled
God,
one of those
Zacchaeus, yeah.
you should have made me
14,
look that
Zacchaeus,
up.
yeah.
I imagine me
Hunter
trying to
spelled
read that. Oh, been brutal.
You should have the first
would,
few
maybe.
letters, though.
Maybe.
Come on.
Probably
Zacchaeus.
not. I don't know. We're excited about the NFL. As the playoffs go on and we record some more, we'll definitely go into more detail as they.
Like, so Hunter, you guys are right about this. So Thursday playoff game, Friday playoff game, Saturday 2 playoff games, Sunday 3 playoff games, Monday night a playoff game. This is one of the great 5-day
there's probably a good
stretches
chance that
you could
the
ever
few of
have.
us that live in the South are probably going to get their world shut down on Friday to do nothing but stay inside because we don't know how to drive in the ice. So
Fingers
And
crossed.
you shouldn't.
So we might have
Yeah.
just some free time to sit on the couch and watch football. So excited about that. But let's get out of here and let's hang some banners as we wrap up episode 13 of this beautiful podcast talking football. We will talk some more NFL as the playoffs go on though. But who wants to get us started here? 2 minutes, hang a banner for anything in the world of sports. Jordan has raised his hand. Go ahead.
I'm gonna throw a little bit of a
Oh, no.
curveball on this one. I'm going to hang a banner for the first ever WWE Raw.
Yes,
on
wrestling
Netflix.
finally.
So they hyped it so much. It was a 3-hour show. So I do not watch regularly, have not in a long time. Kind of keep up with who's who and what's going on storyline wise. But I do not watch. But I decided I was going to tune in for Monday Night Raw. And we were an hour and a half in, Hunter. I texted you. I said, we're almost 90 minutes in, and we've gotten Triple H, The Rock, The Rock's family, and John Cena. Like it's just 2006 all over again. The show never got better. Hulk Hogan came out and about got booed
He
out
got
of the building.
booed out of the
Tip my hat
building.
to Los Angeles for that. Overrated wrestler and terrible human being. I'll stand by both of those points. They had all these nostalgia acts, and the Undertaker bit with Rhea Ripley didn't make sense. Hogan came out to sell his beer. It didn't make sense. I just didn't get it. I thought the show would have been better without the old guys. It was a 3-hour show that had 4 matches. And as somebody who doesn't watch, I was able to predict the winner of all 4 matches before the match started. They went babyface the whole way. They got their moment in the sun, the biggest Monday Night Raw ever, and it was kind of a letdown for me. I got Stone Cold Steve Austin sitting at home doing nothing, but I got Hulk Hogan selling real American beer, brother. Give me a break. It was not good.
I enjoyed the Punk and Rollins match, but then somebody did point out on Twitter that was the exact same finish that him and Moxley did 2 years earlier in AEW, where he did the GTS into the ropes, and then he catches him again and does the GTS again.
I will say this: Rollins on Rollins' first one that he did,
Yeah.
to Punk. He
Oh yeah.
There was no act. There was no.
Yeah, this is a fun moment. I was
Punk
watching
might
with
have had a
Kat,
concussion
and
that
like we're
night.
watching Raw, and she doesn't hate wrestling, but just doesn't get it. And that first GTS, like Seth goes and they show it in slow motion. He got every bit of Punk's face, and Kat goes, "I thought this was fake," and I was like, "It's supposed to be." Yeah,
Yeah, it was. My wife, big fan
Really?
of Roman Reigns.
acknowledge him.
Georgia Tech legend.
Yeah, Georgia Tech legend, shirtless Samoan tattoo guy.
Oh, God.
She's all about it.
No, I'm interested to see where they go with Netflix. I am interested to see what happens there, so we'll have to kind of see what's going on. But I'll go if no one else has one. Okay,
Great.
hang a banner.
Landon's leaving us for the third time.
Hang a banner. I got to pull up a picture here. Hopefully, my camera and my Wi-Fi in Arkansas is working good enough.
No, you're
Okay,
still
well, this
blurry
picture's going
as
to be
all
blurry,
hell.
but I'm
I
going to
don't
pull it
know.
up anyway.
Yeah.
Hang a banner. LSU women's basketball. They held a promotion called Dress Like Kim Mulkey Night. Did anybody see this?
Oh no!
Oh my God.
No.
The competition was fantastic. The outfits across
Kim
the
Mulkey could've got
gym
second.
were amazing. And Kim Mulkey
That's
Mulkey
genius.
herself dressed up like a literal basketball hoop. Look at this.
Oh my
I
God.
had not seen that.
Like,
She is
just
a
talk about
character,
committing
man.
to the bit. Shout out LSU marketing. That's genius. Shout out to the fans for buying in, and shout out to
Really is.
Kim Mulkey for buying in too. Like it's a part of her character almost. It's just that's who she is. I saw it on Twitter. I DM'd it to myself, and I was like, I have to talk about this on the podcast. Love promoting cool stuff like that. That was hilarious. She was wearing a basketball hoop. They had a look-alike contest. I think a 5-year-old little girl ended up winning because she had a wig and a whole like glitter outfit. It was awesome. It was great. Shout out LSU women's basketball. Hang a banner for your Kim Mulkey look-alike contest. So anybody else?
I think a while ago I was like, man, this is just such an act. But I mean, it's what she does. She dresses freaking insane on the sideline and then like screams at refs and goes halfway out onto the floor during the game and has the foot tap going 100 miles an hour.
Imagine being a referee and getting called an MFer while a woman's wearing a basketball hoop around her waist.
In
that accent. Elliot, just imagine that. That's got to be rough.
Rough.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Hey, Landon.
Hey,
no, he's here.
Hey, we're back. We're back.
The video is going to be hilarious because Landon dips for like 40 minutes of this podcast and pops back up. Oh,
I realized we were doing video for this one. I wouldn't have done that.
We're doing video for all of them, Landon. We have a YouTube channel now.
Oh, yeah. Forget
This is a voice that people have not heard in a while.
I texted Landon like 40 minutes ago and was like, "Hey, dude, are you gonna like join us for this podcast or what?"
Yeah, sorry. I was making dinner
this is
because I hadn't eaten.
He's returned.
This is the same person who we couldn't hear. Who ghosted us for 20 minutes before we started tonight. Herod texted him. Finally got a text back, and all it said was, "What did it say, Jordan?"
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
He's just the producer of our podcast, and he was like, "Oh shit, we have a podcast tonight."
Noted bad producer.
Yeah, no.
Landon,
hang your banner.
It's good to hear your voice.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. My hang the banner is going out to Montana State for their bonehead end of the game last night. So, in case y'all didn't know, because most people don't pay attention to FCS football, North Dakota State played Montana State in the national championship in Frisco. Nice and chilly last night at 43 degrees or something like that. It was a back and forth game. Montana State comes into it undefeated on the season, 15-0. North Dakota State 13-2, the 1 seed and 2 seed. And it was back and forth. We get down to the final 10 seconds. North Dakota State punts the ball, and Montana State didn't even put a returner back there. They just brought the house and tried to block it, and then the ball just rolled around for the final 4 seconds, and that was it. They didn't even give them a chance to go for a Hail Mary at the end. Like, I don't really get that personally. I told y'all last night, if I was North Dakota State, I probably would have just ran around in the backfield and maybe taken the safety to end the game because they were up 3 and 2 points. I mean, those are kind of the end of game scenarios that coaches play out. But, I mean, it worked out for North Dakota State. Good for them. They've got like 18 championships in the last 25 years or something like that. And 11 of those are Division I FCS in the last since like 2011 or something like that. So great football being played up there. They're never going to move up because why would they? They're dominant at that level. So yeah, hang the banner, Montana State. You could have at least given your quarterback and receivers a chance.
I'd like to think that somebody
Carson
on Montana
Wentz
State's
and Trey
team
Lance.
is a big fan of Varsity Blues, and they were just pulled that Billy Bob line in the movies, like, "Put me in there, we'll block it."
I just don't get it. I don't.
I think it's a pig.
Cam, I'll go real quick because mine's NFL related, and we were talking about it earlier. I'm hanging a banner for Black Monday, the old firing cycle in the NFL, because every year the over under is always set at 6.5, because on average 6.5 changes per year in the 32 team National Football League, and sure enough, there's 6 of them. So we're at 6, and we've got some outliers out there that I'm not sure about yet, like a Dallas or.
Yeah. How many of those 6 were one and done? At least 2 of them.
Gerard Mayo.
Let's see. Not
Mayo and
so the openings are Chicago. Eberflus was there for a little
Antonio
while.
Pierce was a one and done guy.
Yep. New England, Mayo was one and done. The Jets, they fired Salah.
They'll do it again in 2 years.
Peterson was there a while in Jacksonville. Dennis Allen was there a little bit in New Orleans. Yeah. Antonio Pierce with Vegas.
Zach.
Those are your 6. So, yeah, 2 of them were
Other
done.
than our owner and GM being senile and, just stupid, why has Dallas not made a decision yet?
I saw that they stopped the Bears from talking to Mike McCarthy. I don't know. This is kind of the perfect way to do it, just because his contract's up. But it makes me think they're going to.
Yeah, I mean, we all came from ACU. ACU is the king of their contract expired. Oh no, bye. Like,
yeah,
that's
I
the
mean, that's the
easiest
easiest
thing
way
ever.
to do it. You don't have to keep
Yeah,
paying.
so
Yeah,
I don't get it, but
I have
our
two
owner's
questions.
senile.
Number one, why on earth would you keep Mike McCarthy? Number two, why on earth would you wait to announce that you're keeping him, other than he wants headlines on Wild Card Weekend?
there you go. There you go. That's Jerry.
It, right?
That's Jerry. He waited till the morning of opening day to sign Dak and CeeDee Lamb. Like, that's just what he does. He wants the drama. He wants to be.
You know how he could get a lot of eyeballs on his football team? Win more games. Hire a GM.
He doesn't care about more games, more eyeballs, because everybody still shows up.
I hate it. I know. The only solution is people need to stop watching the Cowboys. This doesn't happen.
Selling out that stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. But the Dolphins, they said they're keeping McDaniel. Giants said they're keeping everybody, which I thought was odd. I thought for sure that'd be a fire. Yeah, and then Seahawks are keeping McDonald too.
Where does Mike Vrabel end up? Because the obvious answer is New England, but I think he could go to Vegas because Tom Brady's a part owner now.
Yeah, I think those are your two probably best options. It's probably New England.
I love that news broke that he interviewed with the Jets, and then like 5 minutes later, news broke the Patriots have fired their coach.
Yeah, who wants a Jets job? Nobody.
Nobody.
I don't want that. Yeah.
Cameron, what you got, buddy?
Hang the banner. West Virginia men's basketball. You finally beat Kansas in Allen Fieldhouse. For the first time in 14 years since joining the Big 12, you beat Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. Now they've beaten Kansas plenty of times at home, and it shouldn't be a shock that it's their first time winning in Allen Fieldhouse, because I think they've won over 90% of conference games at Allen Fieldhouse. So it's
in all games. Bill Self's record's dumb at home.
Yeah, and it's like 300 something in like 18. So it's not really a shock that it was their first time winning, but you got to hang the banner for the first time in 14 years winning at Allen Fieldhouse. And it gets the monkey off the back because in 2017, West Virginia was up 14 points on Kansas with 2.5 minutes to go.
Tough.
And Kansas found a way to tie that game, and West Virginia blew it in overtime. And ever since then, it's been the monkey on the back that they can't just get it done. And they had a huge lead this time against Kansas. They had, I don't know what the largest lead was, but they were up by maybe 15-ish points at some point in that game, and Kansas just kept clawing back. And they ended up winning it late on some free throws. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to the new coach at West Virginia, Darren DeVries. In his first year at West Virginia, he's done things that Bob Huggins was not able to do in his 15 years. Yeah, well, that's one of them.
Too soon?
Too soon.
Not too soon. It's been a couple years now. But yeah, he's building a squad at West Virginia. So
okay, Cam, to your point. So Kansas 16 Big 12 regular season titles, 10 30-win seasons, and at home, he's had 7 undefeated seasons at home. He is 314 and 18.
Yeah.
Ohio State football would fire.
And I can't remember the exact year from this stat, but that was the home opener for Kansas in the conference schedule. That was the first conference opener that Kansas lost in like 40 some years.
Wow.
And it's not like Kansas is having a down year. I mean, they were kind of stumbling into that game. They had lost a couple close ones, but they're a fantastic team. And so I was really excited about that. That was awesome.
That was a good one.
Love it.
Well,
College basketball is
college
gonna be
basketball
fun.
is going to be fun.
gonna
We
be
got to do
fun.
our due diligence here so we can actually talk some educated stuff on the podcast. I feel like we've done a good job with college football.
Is Mario Chalmers
Huh?
still there?
Mario Chalmers.
He's not.
No, but
One of
Perry
my-
Ellis,
one of the
Perry
great-
Ellis might still be there.
Perry Ellis
Seriously.
legitimately might still be playing for game.
Or Frank Mason.
Yeah.
That 08 national championship game against D Rose. Oh man, that was good.
You know what we should just
That
do?
was
We
an
should do
awesome
we should just watch old games on and just give commentary. That's what we should do. That could be our bit.
Man, guys, I'm disappointed. You just mentioned D Rose, and we're doing our Hang the Banner segment, and no one mentioned that D Rose got his number retired for the Bulls. So I want to shout that out. That's
Okay.
awesome.
MVP. He was
Literal
MVP
hang the
this year.
banner, Derrick
Youngest
Rose.
MVP ever.
That's actually what hang the banner means. So he actually hung a banner. So good for him.
Derek, if you're
listening,
Yeah.
you're not. We appreciate you though, if you are listening. So we are Press Box After Dark. That will wrap us up here for episode 13. You can find all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Music. You can also check everything out that we're doing on our website. That's pressboxafterdark.com. You can catch all of our podcasts there, all of our blogs. Zach does all of his NFL coverage with Double Doink. You're definitely going to want to read that for the NFL playoffs and Wild Card Weekend. Jordan has been previewing every single game that Texas has played all the way to this point. I'm going to recap bowl season for our college football coverage. Jordan is also doing our MLB offseason coverage on a bi-weekly basis with 3 Up, 3 Down. That next 3 Up, 3 Down comes out not this Wednesday coming up, but next Wednesday. And Survivor just ended a couple weeks ago. So Survivor After Dark, no, but we got a little while till season 48 of Survivor. I think it starts in late February, maybe March. So we do recap Survivor every now and then. But you can catch all of that on PressBoxAfterDark.com. You can catch us on Twitter at PressBoxAD. Interact with us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Interact with a tweet. Like it. Retweet us. Follow us. We appreciate it. You can also catch us at PressBoxAD on TikTok. We got clips of our podcast there. Follow us on TikTok. And our biggest thing that we're trying to grow right here for 2026, we mentioned at the very beginning, we're trying to hit to 100 subscribers on YouTube. So please subscribe to us at PressBox After Dark on YouTube. Come on, Landon. Don't give me a smirk. We can do it. 100 subscribers on YouTube at PressBox After Dark and on Instagram at PressBox After Dark. Give us a follow there. Does anybody have anything they want to add before we wrap up this episode officially?
Yeah, Hunter, you forgot one of my things that I do.
Jerk.
I am the news correspondent for all activity in New Orleans.
Oh, yes. Zach is the news correspondent for all activity.
I have all the insight. from what
goes on in the city of New Orleans. So Super Bowl city. Hopefully everything goes well there in the Super Bowl. So,
hey, Happy New Year, you
Happy
dinks.
New Year, you dings. Anything else?
Suck it, Honor.
Damn it.
Second Hunter.
Unreal.
Got him.
No, it's real.
It's time for the Sonic drive of the game. And perhaps, as far as I'm concerned, the drive of the game may be our drive home from Starkville to Tupelo.
You can't fire me! I got a contract! I'm ready!